math book. Thursday is then going to be a practice worksheet because Friday you have a quiz. Remind me what happens on Wednesday. What is Wednesday? It is the end of the third quarter and Thursday starts the new quarter, right? So Wednesday ends your quarter. Don't forget, red team, you have an incentive day tomorrow. Wednesday's the last day. So if Thursday starts your new one, look, one of your very first grades is going to be this quiz, so you want to do really well on it, right? So you start quarter 4 out at a really good grade. Part of this is memorizing a formula and knowing what it means. So a cylinder is like a can, okay? Has 2 circles as bases, the top and the bottom. It could be tilted on its side, obviously. They're the same size, congruent. They're parallel, meaning they won't run into each other. And they're connected by that curved surface. So like a can of soup, a garbage can, those are all cylinders. Volume is the measure of the space occupied by the solid. It is measured in cubic units. Cubic means to the third. So anything you label today should be feet cubed, inches cubed, meters cubed, millimeters cubed. Volume is always cubed. Cubed, cubed, cubed. Here's our volume formula. Circle that. That thing is super important today. Volume equals pi radius squared height. Volume equals pi radius squared height. Pi is a number. Radius is from the center to the outside edge. This is your radius from the center to the outside edge. And your height is between the 2 circles. A lot of times people want to say it's how tall the cylinder is. But if I say this marker is a cylinder, if I lay it on its side, your height isn't how tall it is. It's the distance between your 2 circles. So that's what you have to remember there. Get to the correct page. Start writing down everything I do. You cannot sit here and do nothing. All right. So if we look at their example, it says find the volume. These are the 3 steps that Ms. Hoff expects you to have on every problem today. Bless you. On every problem, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down this formula. And the reason I make you do that is the more you write it, the more likely you are to remember it. So then they looked at their picture. Pi, they left as pi. 5 is your radius, the distance from the center of the circle to the outside edge. And then your height is 8.3. Okay? Go to your Desmos calculator. We're going to calculate this together because I want you to practice how you put it in your calculator. The first thing you should type in is your radius squared. So we need to type in, whoopsies, sorry, 5, and then your squared buttons, that a squared. See it? Now, make sure you either hit the blue enter or enter on your keyboard so it pushes that number up. Did you get 25? Now, you need to use that number. So you got to hit ANS. ANS means take the answer I just got, and we're going to multiply it by the height. What was the height in our formula? What was the height in this formula? 8.3. So times 8.3. Hit enter. It should now say 207.5. Now we need to take that number, answer, ANS, times, and then see the pi button over here? Pi. Enter. So you always do your radius squared times your height, then times pi. And Ms. Hoff has you multiply by pi last because it's a really long decimal and we don't need all those crazy numbers till the end. Okay? On the bottom by your decimal point there. Okay? We're going to round to the nearest tenth on this. Questions on how we put it in our calculator. I'll continue to practice with you. But that ANS button is super important. All right, so if we go back to our notes, go down to the bottom of 590. Got it, A and B. First things first, we have to write that volume formula. So everybody write V equals pi radius squared height. Pi is literally 2 lines with a line above it. Like, don't try to make it fancy. It doesn't have to be fancy. Pi radius squared height. V stays V because we're finding the volume. Pi is just pi. What is my radius in this one? What is your radius in this picture? 3. Very good. The distance from the center to the outside edge, and don't forget to put the squared on it. Don't forget to put the squared on that 3. What's our height? What is the distance between the 2 circles? 1.8. Okay? Go to your computer. Go to your calculator. If you want to hit clear, that's totally fine. If you don't, that's okay. What do I type first? 3 squared. Hit enter. Now what do I do? ANS, so it takes that previous answer, times 1.8. Enter. ANS times pi. Enter. Now, we need to round this, and it's going to round it to the nearest 10. So here's our whole number. One number over is our 10. So then we have to look one number past that. Okay, so 8 is our 10th spot. We look one number past it. Is 9 big enough to make my 8 round? Yeah. So my answer would be 50.9. And what would my label be? Careful. Inches cubed. Inches cubed. Inches cubed. All right, let's look at the next one. Question, Sarah. So volume is because it's talking about 3 dimensions. So when we look at our radius, it's in inches. Whoopsies, I meant to highlight that. Our radius is in inches, and we square that. So inches, inches, and inches. So there's really 3 inches. Volume, because you're talking space, is always inches cubed. Good question. B, they didn't give us a picture, but they gave us the information in words. We know it's a cylinder, so we write down our formula. V equals pi radius squared height. V equals pi, because pi is a number. What is my radius? 12 is my radius? 12 is your diameter. That's not my radius. What is the difference between diameter and radius? Diameter goes from one side all the way across. We can't use that. So if you get the word diameter, the very first thing you have to do is divide it in half. So we have to take 12 divided by 2. Diameter is all the way across. We can't use that. What's 12 divided by 2? 6. So my radius is 6. And I have to put squared on there. And my height is 5. All right. Go to your calculator. See if you can calculate it on your own. Round to the nearest tenth. Round to the nearest tenth. Okay, when it comes to your test and your quiz, I can't help you with this. That's why I want you to be practicing. What do I type in first? 6 squared, I hit enter. Then what do I do? ANS times 5, I hit enter. ANS times pi, I hit enter. 565.5 Very good. 565.5 because that 8 makes that 4 round. What's my label? Millimeters cubed. Millimeters cubed. Nicely done. Nicely done. All right, let's flip the page. 592 in your guided practice. I want you to do number 1 and number 2 all on your own right now. Just do those 2 problems on your own right now. Number 1 and number 2. Write the formula, fill it in, use your calculator. Yes, I did not get that. It's on, I can send it to you. I just thought of that. What I'll do is I'll just add you as a collaborator on here, and then you just have to share the link on your lesson. Okay. Perfect. Should we need to go try that? Yep. Write down your formula, fill in your numbers, use your calculator. Make sure you have a label. You have to put numbers in here. I will not give you credit. If you do not write 3 lines of work on every single problem, I will not give you credit. Write down the formula, then fill in the numbers, and then have the final answer. It doesn't help you to skip any of those steps. What did I just tell you? If you do not have 3 lines of work, I will not give you credit. Formula, fill in the numbers, then make the calculation. Because I'll tell you, you are incorrect. Good job. Three lines of work, just like your notes. Formula, fill in the numbers, make the calculation. All right, so number 1, everybody has to write down V equals pi radius squared height, because you have to have that memorized by Friday. But I'm going to give you a new one on Tuesday and Wednesday. There's 3 formulas you're going to have to memorize. So that's why Ms. Hoff makes you write it down every single time, over and over and over. Then you have to fill in the numbers. What is my radius in number 1? 1.5. Your radius is on that circle from the center to the outside edge. Don't forget to square it. Then you have your height. What's your height? 8. When you type that into your calculator, what did you get as an answer? 56.5 centimeters cubed. Centimeters cubed. Cubed. Number 2, V equals pi radius squared height. You write that down. V equals pi. What's my radius? 4. They gave us the diameter, so the very first thing we have to do is divide that in half to get 4. 4 squared. What's my height? 8. When I type that into my calculator, why is this blank? What do I get? What'd you get? 402.1. Yes. Label. Inches cubed. Inches cubed. Pay attention to that word diameter. Okay? In a picture, look at number 3. See this line down here? What do you notice about it? Side to side. Guess what that is? That's a diameter. So you have to pay attention in your picture. If it goes from, like number 1, the center to the outside edge, boom, radius. Use it exactly like it is. But if they give you the word diameter or the line is drawn all the way across, you have to divide it in half. Okay? All right. Miss Hoff jumps all over for this homework. All over. So here's what we need to do. Go to page 593. Circle these problems with me. You're going to do number 1, number 2, you're going to do number 3, but write yourself a note, find volume. You're not going to do what this actually asks you to, this last part. You are just finding the volume. Miss Hoff's changing the directions on there. So 1, 2, and 3. Then go to the next page. 6. 10, 11, 12. 13, same thing. Find the volume. Don't do what they ask you to. Just find the volume. And number 18. All right, let's go over again what Miss Hoff just said here. Write this down because she just changed what she was going to give you. 1 through 3. 6. You have to have work shown on 6. 10 through 13. Oops, that should look like a 10, not a 6. 10 through 13 and number 18. Yes? You have to have the volume formula written on every single problem. 3 lines of work on every single problem. If you're looking at this and you're like, there's no way I can fit work in there, get another sheet of paper. Go get a grid paper. Go get a blank paper. I have no issue with that. Okay? Go to work. The rest of the hour is yours.